And we are so glad you're up with us here on this Thursday morning at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Iranpour, and we want to get right to our top story here. This is a big one for so many people. This morning we could finally learn about long-term solutions to all that sewage contamination that comes our way from Mexico.
Of course, this has been an issue that's plagued part of our coast for decades now. And CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol live at Imperial Beach with more on what's happening here today. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Eric and Neda. So many of the community members here in Imperial Beach are frustrated, so they really are anticipating this big announcement of long-term solutions for sewage spillage. Now, the coastline here is dealing with two separate sewage pipes that burst at the end of July. Millions of gallons are spewing into our ocean as we speak, and an advisory still is in place for residents here, so it's not safe for them to swim. We spoke to an expert about why this pipeline burst and what's next.
And that gusher of water pretty much eroded the whole slope of the canyon, causing additional erosion on that pipe that it was on, the 42-inch, and caused a ton of erosion on the 48-inch, causing it to collapse.
Now, today's announcement unveils agreements between the U.S. and Mexico to fund and implement the initial steps of a comprehensive set of projects addressing transborder pollution. We're also giving an update on sanitation infrastructure and conditions in the Tijuana River Basin after, again, those two sewer lines failed. The first line was fixed last week, but the commissioner says it's about 6 weeks away to repair the second line. In the meantime, the South Bay International Water Treatment Plant has been working twice as hard, treating a daily of 31.5 million gallons per day, exceeding the plant's capacity of 25 million gallons per day. Now, I do want to note that if you're coming down here, please check online to see if there's advisory in place for the water. As of right now, there is in Imperial Beach. I'm Dana Marie McNichol coming to you live.
Dana Marie, thank you so much for that. This morning, a man is under arrest accused of killing a beloved local teacher. You see a picture of her there. This is 22-year-old Chelsea Pacheco. She was shot on June 4th. Police say she was a passenger in a car with her friends when they got into an argument with a pedestrian. Police say that pedestrian opened fire when the car drove away. Officers tracked down the suspect in Mexico. 25-year-old Vicente Huerta was then taken into custody. And this morning, people experiencing homelessness, they're back at a Chula Vista Park. Look at this. That's the scene of the park there. It's right next to Harborside Elementary School. Now, yesterday, the city conducted a sweep and asked those living in the park to leave. But as soon as the cleanup ended, many campsites were quickly set right back up again. A homeless advocate tells us that Chula Vista has very few services to protect people who are living on the street.
Having people reside in a park that has no water, no restroom behind a school is not great. This is not helping anyone.
And you see how close those tents are right to that elementary school's playground, lined up along the fence. The city will discuss the issue next Monday in their next city council meeting.
This morning, the judge is set to hear arguments from the Justice Department on why the warrant used to search former President Trump's home should not be made public. Officials from the Justice Department say it would cause irreparable damage to their investigation. Trump is accused of taking classified documents from the White House. Meantime, former Vice President Mike Pence is warning his fellow Republicans against politicizing the FBI.
Calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police.
The former vice president also said he would consider testifying before the January 6th House committee. It comes as Trump associates face growing legal scrutiny in multiple investigations. In Georgia, Rudy Giuliani appeared before a grand jury investigating election interference. And today, the Trump Organization's longtime CFO is expected to plead guilty to tax violations. This morning, the CDC is getting an overhaul after an internal review of its COVID-19 response. The report said the agency lacked the ability to respond quickly to a fast-moving public health emergency. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said the reorganization will focus on improving its communication and messaging skills. And today we could get an update on the suspension of Padres player Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, one of the Padres' highest paid, biggest name players. The UT reports that Tatis will have a series of big meetings today. CBS 8's Chris Groh, live outside Petco Park. You're following the latest developments. So many people want to know what now. Good morning to you, Chris.
Yeah, and we are going to have to wait because it's not like Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. He will be a Padre. He just won't be playing for the next 80 games. That's a little bit more than 40 games this year, and then, of course, dozens of games next year. Now, what these meetings are likely going to be about, likely going to see, and obviously this will be private, but likely this is going to be Fernando Tatis Jr. again meeting with the general manager as well as other team executives, trying to conceivably explain his side and maybe even apologize for this latest episode and what has truly been a fall from grace. Now, Tatis suspended those 80 games under the performance-enhancing drug policy. Tatis tested positive for clostebol, an anabolic steroid, and he blames the positive test on a medication he said he took for ringworm. Now, Superstar was already out this year for fracturing his wrist in a motorcycle crash. His dad, a former major leaguer himself, has been very critical of the suspension, so it's not exactly like the Tatises are going away quietly. He claimed on a Dominican radio show that millions of fans will stop watching if his son isn't playing. Now, we know that Padre fans are disappointed so far with how the team has performed this year, but the idea of Tatis coming back from that injury was supposed to be a spark to get them through the postseason, but as we know, that's something that we'll have to wait until next year. We're not even seeing the impact of the suspension here just on the diamond. We do know that the team went as far as to change a giveaway that was supposed to happen on September 7th from a Tatis Jr. bobblehead to a Juan Soto City Connect shirt. Now, of course, Juan Soto was traded for, and they gave away a ton of assets to pair Soto with Fernando Tatis to compete with the likes of the Los Angeles Dodgers through the stretch run and into the playoffs, but that's something that we'll have to wait to see if it happens in the future, the two of those playing together. Eric and Netta.
All right, Chris Grow reporting there. It'll be interesting to see what the response is to all of this, that's for sure. Another district will be going back to school here today.
Today's the first day of classes for all students enrolled in the Vallecitos Union School District. So enjoy this new semester. Good luck to everybody. And yeah, again, in those shorts and tank tops. Was Brielle happy with her outfit choice
Well,
yesterday?
she went with more of the tank top approach,
Right,
so
'cause
she
it's
was
so
very
hot.
happy. Tank top and shorts.
There we go.
They
Okay.
all went with just, shorts and everything.
You
but,
can still be a fashionista in this heat out there.
She actually turned somehow a headband into a necklace, and it worked for her.
Stylish.
You gotta let them just kind of run with what they want, and then let them, that way when they're like, 15, 20 years old and they look back on the pictures, then they can be the ones to be like, did you put me in that? And you're like, no, you decided that on your own. It's great. It's perfect. No, they got to explore the options that they have with their wardrobe. It's 6:08 right now. Hey, key out there is going to be, of course, those thin layers. Tank tops are going to be helpful. You, of course, are going to find some relief in the shorts versus the pants yet again this afternoon. So let's take a look at the forecast. Upper 70s and low 80s along the coast. Sea breeze, onshore flow helps to keep our coastline a little bit cooler, but still going to have the sun beaming down on us with partly cloudy skies, so maybe a few passing clouds. Upper 80s and low 90s for your inland valleys, mid 80s across the mountains, and 109 out there for the deserts. As you walk out the door right now, our overnight lows are mostly in the upper 60s and low 70s. 68 right now in Poway. Good morning to Escondido at 66 and 70 in El Cajon as we speak. So overnight lows are not giving us a ton of relief, but we're at least in some spots in the mid 60s. We've talked about the cooler weather that is on the way. It will not last for all that long, but this upcoming weekend we do have about a 5-degree cool down coming for especially your inland valleys. That'll last again Saturday and Sunday before temperatures start to climb once again by early next week. Humidity, though, will stay elevated for the weekend. As far as monsoonal moisture goes, we picked up on a little bit of wet weather over the mountains yesterday. That has generally cleared out. Satellite radar imagery for this morning looking clear. As we start off the day, we just have that marine layer present along the coast yet again. Let's talk about traffic as we start off your 6 o'clock hour. So far, things are pretty quiet on the roads out there. We earlier saw one crash on the 125 that has been cleared, and we also earlier had a stalled vehicle on the 15 that has been cleared as well. So we're back to pretty smooth sailing on the roads. Looks like there is still a bit of congestion across the Coronado Bridge. Back to you.
Evan, thank you. We have some sad news this morning about an extremely talented newsman who used to sit in this very chair.
Former anchorman Michael Tuck has died at 76 years old. Here are some images of him. He was a longtime CBS 8 anchor here and was really larger than life on and off the air. Michael Tuck made a mark on San Diego from his one-of-a-kind voice and his delivery to his scorching perspectives. Our Carlo Chiquetto takes a look back at his legacy.
Michael Tuck came to KFMB in 1978, and San Diego news was never the same.
Hello, I'm Michael Tuck. You know, San Diego is a long way from Philadelphia, and since my arrival here, I've been working to get acquainted with my new hometown.
Those were the glory days of television news. Alongside Allison Ross, Clark Anthony, and Ted Leitner, making News 8 the biggest story in town. He was opinionated and demanding, and coworkers say he was worth it. Great as an anchor and great in the field.
It's still about 20 minutes till showtime, and the place is nearly full right now. By 8:30, there will be a packed house. It's been this way for the past 17 years here.
Michael Tuck wasn't just an anchor man. He was the anchor man for San Diego. He won numerous awards and won big in the ratings. He left 8 for KGTV in the mid-'80s, then went to LA until 1999 and returned to 8. He was older, wiser, but still had that style and voice that commanded attention.
The lawyers are lurking out there, so tonight I'm going to have to be careful with this one. It involves your electric bill.
Michael Tuck was born in Texas, went to college and got his first TV job there as well, but spent more than 30 years of his life in San Diego. He was on air until a stroke in 2007 left him unable to work. Even toward the end of his 40-year career and in poor health, he asked to be sent to cover the Gulf War. That was Michael Tuck.